Chairman Yoho, thank you so much for speaking with Voice of America.
It's an honor and a privilege, Peggy, and I thank you for having the opportunity to do this.
First, what do you envision U.S. role to be in the Asia-Pacific region, and what is the best approach to reach that goal?
I look very much forward to having the position that I have as the chairman of the Asian Pacific Subcommittee. It's an honor and a privilege to represent that area. What I look for our goal as a nation and a committee is to make sure our alliances with all the regional partners in the Asia-Pacific region to make stronger relationships with them based on economy, based on trade, cultural exchanges, dealing with national security, not just in the region, but around the world, as you can see the news reports that have come out. And our goal is to make sure that products cross borders and not armies. We want to keep everybody safe, and we can do that if we all work together and build that strong union.
As North Korea continues to pursue nuclear weapons and test ballistic missiles, I want to discuss with you about how U.S. should deal with this threat. Secretary of State Tillerson has said that the strategic patience policy has ended and that all options are on the table, including military options. What is your thought on this statement?
Well, I think number one, we know the strategic patience policy of the past administration doesn't work, and it leaves a void, it creates a vacuum, and that vacuum is filled by somebody else. What we have to do, the path that Kim Jong-un is on in North Korea, developing nuclear weapons, more importantly, taunting other nations, threatening attacks, is unacceptable. There's no need to build a nuclear arsenal in the 21st century. Nobody's trying to invade North Korea. What we need to do is work on a regional peace plan for everybody and then focus on the things that are really important. You know, economies, trade, jobs for their citizens and our citizens. And again, we hope that the world community together can come together and put the pressure on the North Korean government and get them to see the common sense of this. If they go down that path, it's a no-win situation. And it's just going to keep suppressing the people of North Korea. It's going to keep destabilizing that whole area. And it's not just that area, it's a world destabilization.
What is your thought on strengthening current sanctions as an approach to deal with the crisis?
Well, I appreciate you asking that question. And again, out of the meeting we had this week on Tuesday, what our goal was is to define the problem in the North Korea area and what to do about it. The recommendations that we got from the three witnesses there was that North Korea, with the actions that they have done, the continued action, and with the history since they were taking off the state sponsor of terrorism list, which is really a pariah for any nation, to put them back on that list because their behavior being being removed from that the sanctions or from the state sponsor of terrorism designation, their behavior, if anything, has gotten worse. You know, if you look at the nuclear bombs they've tested, the amount of missiles. In fact, Kim Jong-un has tested more missiles in his short reign than his father and grandfather did. And so this is something that we want to get them back on that and get buy-in from the rest of the world, because I said this is not just America's problem. You asked me in the previous question, what can America do? America can show leadership by putting them back on that and having the world community say, we can't tolerate this in the world in the 21st century.
What is your thought on the U.S. deployment of that in South Korea? And also it has caused a lot of strong reactions from China. And what is your view on that?
I think what I would have people ask is, why does the United States or South Korea want the THAAD system in South Korea? It's a defensive mechanism. It's a defensive type of equipment to protect South Korea. And of course, we have about 23,000 troops there to protect that region from the threat of North Korea. We're not the ones making the threat. We're just doing defensive mechanisms. It's not pointed at China. It's pointed directly at North Korea, where the imminent threat is coming. And that imminent threat comes from the leader of North Korea, Kim Jong-un, who keeps talking about he's going to get nuclear weapons. And, you know, he shows where he's going to shoot them. And we've seen his past history. And so I think it's a good thing. I think it's a strong statement. And we plan to continue having a strong statement to let our allies know that we stand firmly with them. The last 8 years under the previous administration has shown a weakness, the strategic patience, and it's created a void, and it's allowed for people to be emboldened. And we want to say this is a new era. The Trump administration is going to be very strong on this. Secretary of State Tillerson has done a great job of saying all options are on the table, and I think that's a very loud signal. But what we do is not our choice. What we do is dependent on the reactions of the leader of North Korea.
What kind of role would you like to see China play in dealing with North Korea crisis?
Supportive, more supportive. Instead of, if they get back on the sanctions list, which I'm pretty sure that's going to happen within the next 6 months, China needs to work with us instead of against us. The only way we're going to have the change that we need in that area to bring the stabilization is for China to be a big partner. When Korea gets 90% of their trade through China, China has a big influence. And I was happy to see China say they weren't going to take coal, they were going to suspend it for a period of time. And I hope that sends a strong signal to Kim Jong-un that this is the wrong path he's going down. So I look forward to working with China.
China has been conducting a lot of island building activities in the South China Sea. How does that affect U.S. interests, and do you think U.S. should adopt a more aggressive posture?
I think we should, I don't want to say more aggressive because that sounds confrontational. I think we should adopt a strong policy. The United Nations or the Court of Arbitrations, they came out and said China does not have claim to that. I think, again, the world community should put pressure on China, not just America, because if it's just America, it's us against them, whereas if America leads the effort to say, what you guys are doing is wrong, and I've had the opportunity to meet with some of the Chinese ministers, and they said it was all for peaceful purposes. But when you build runways that can accommodate military jets, when you have images on there that our satellites pick up that show military barracks, when our images show that they have both offensive and defensive weapons and military satellites, you don't get the feeling it's for peaceful purposes. It's an aggression of China. We see it in other parts in the South China Sea and the East China Sea. And I think it's a very strong signal of what China's intentions are. The best thing America can do is to partner up with our allies, Taiwan, Vietnam, Japan, and all the other countries that we're going to be involved in the TPP, and make strong relationships with them. And we stand together, not to threaten China, but just to let them know enough's enough.
Taiwan is a core interest issue for China. President Trump answered a congressional call from Taiwan president last year, which exasperated China. It is also reported that the Trump administration may be crafting a big arms sales package to Taiwan. What is your thought on arms sales to Taiwan?
Well, we've been doing that since 1979. We need to continue that. Taiwan is a sovereign nation, and with the past administration, again, their policy was strategic patience. They canceled $1 billion arms sales. I look forward to moving forward and continuing the relationship we have with Taiwan, continue to strengthen that relationship, and I feel this administration will do that, and we're 100% in support of that.
In the bigger picture, what do you see U.S. and China, the relationship is like in the coming decades?
We hope a very good one of working hand in hand, building on economies, trust, trade, cultural exchanges, and bringing regional security. And we can work together to bring, the peace of the North Korean peninsula. We can work together to get terrorism under control. We have to in the 21st century, and we look forward to working with China. But when I see China, threatening South Korea because we want to put a THAAD system in there, I think that's wrong. I think that's the wrong attitude to have. We should work together because South Korea is not the threat. Being a parent, if our children do something wrong, we have 2 children. If you spank the wrong child, it does no good for the one that did something wrong. China is spanking the wrong child. China needs to work with us to put the pressure where it needs to be.
What do you hope to accomplish as the chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Subcommittee on Asia and the Pacific?
Again, the biggest thing I hope to accomplish is to let people know in the Asia Pacific theater that America's back in leadership. you can count on us to be strong allies, strong trading partners economically, with balanced trade that will treat people with respect, with dignity, and help you build an economy for yourself that we both benefit from. And just looking forward to forming that bridge of commonality where you look around and you'll say, you know what, I like doing business with those people.
Is there any message that you would like to send to our VOA audience in China?
I think the biggest thing is we appreciate the people of the Asia-Pacific region, all of them. You know, America is so diverse now, and we have communities from all over the Asia-Pacific region, and it's great to see people come to our country. They assimilate. They become assimilated into our culture, but yet they're proud of their heritage. And they work hand in hand, and that's what makes America strong. It's the interweaving of different cultures, different beliefs, but coming together under one belief of freedom and liberty. And that's there for everybody. And we're looking forward to working with people to strengthen that bond around the Asia-Pacific theater. And I'm honored again to be the chairman of this committee.
Thank you so much for your time.
Peggy, I appreciate you coming to our office.